Yep.
All right, call this meeting to order for the Berne Nuisance Review Board. We have a quorum this morning. First item on our agenda is approval of minutes from our June 17th meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the Berne Nuisance Review Board meeting minutes from June 17th as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by John. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Our next agenda item is property review. And you have copies of pictures that were taken yesterday and last month. Our first property is 753 North Jefferson Street.
So as we discussed at the June 17th meeting, they have got their dump trailer there that they didn't have back in May when we sent them a letter, and everything was just kind of all over the place in the backyard. So that appears to still be in a good state of affairs. I mean, I don't know what their progress is on the renovations. That's kind of an ongoing question, but it appears that they need to be sent another letter about mowing, weeds, that such, which they've received before and they've addressed, but I think
It's back again.
I mean, we can have the chief of police or whoever go and check it, but my recommendation on this property at this point would be to send them another letter on weeds and vegetation and give them the normal timeline to get it resolved.
And that timeline is how long?
We have 5 days
I
for
mean,
mowing, 5 days.
and if it's not done,
The city either goes and mows it or we hire someone to mow it and then they get invoiced.
That's my motion on 753 North Jefferson Street.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. The next one is 306 Winridge Trail. So that one is, there are 2 photos from 6/15 and also 2 photos from 7/14.
Looking back at our June meeting, I believe we issued them a warning. The chief's not here, but I'm pretty sure that was what we were going to do.
We issued a warning for the rubbish, it looks like, and then the excessive weeds and vegetation.
And I think maybe one thing we might have not got the date right. I think when we looked at the calendar last month when we were meeting, I don't think we recognized that July the 1st was a Wednesday.
I caught it when I seen the letter,
So did you tell them the 14th or? Okay,
and I told him we had our meeting today.
okay, I'm good. Great job, Kelly.
He did stop in to talk to us after he got the warning letter, and I said, you know, they're just expecting that you can, you know, that you clean it up. But he always he has an excuse different excuse each time, but I told him, I said, just do your best to get it cleaned up. But he claims that he burns, some of that's firewood that he burns, and because he said, I can't even burn firewood. And I said, no, we're not saying that. We just want it cleaned up.
So how much longer do we give him?
What did that letter say that we sent to him? That he had to be,
And I said,
he had to have it cleaned up by the 14th or just show up to the meeting?
yeah, we asked him to, well, I put on there next nuisance meeting, then the date and time. And then it was a police warning issued on June 24th. And he had 10 days to get it cleaned up.
What's our next?
As to the firewood, this has been part of the ordinance for years and years and years. But there's a section with the public health nuisance that says piles of any wood or wood product usually used or intended to be used as firewood in a residence or any accessory structure which is not contained within a covered enclosure, impervious to the elements, or not stored or kept in a neat and secure stacks no more than 4 feet in height as measured from the ground surface, and that has been stacked in a manner in which disease-carrying insects, rats, or other vermin may breed, or which becomes a fire hazard, or which has been open to the elements for a duration which causes the wood to rot or decay. I think that's been there since the 80s probably, but so no, it's okay to have firewood, but there is such a thing as a public nuisance that's not just because it's unsightly, it's a health hazard.
I don't know if this container here is what has firewood in or not. That kind of looks like it to me, but I'm not, it's kind of hard to see. There might be some firewood in that container.
How do we proceed?
And at the last meeting, as I recall, we were talking about doing a fine. And Chief Taylor didn't feel comfortable going straight to a fine. He wanted to do a warning. So we did a warning. So at this point, if we think they're still in, what do you want to say, non-compliance from a junk and rubbish perspective, then I think we're okay to fine them $100 and give them X amount of days to resolve it, as we've done on 1 or 2 other properties. So, I mean, I don't want to do that, but I think on this property, we've kind of been pushed to that point since it's been ongoing for so long.
Yeah.
And I don't see, it doesn't look like any changes have been made. I mean, everything is,
So I guess I'd be willing to make that recommendation, Mayor.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the next one's 465 Strunner Street. The renter of that property did come in to see me, and he wanted to know what he needed. He wanted to know what he needed to do, and I talked to him about the fence that he was going to put up, and he said, and when I asked him about the fence, he said that the meeting that he said he was going to put a fence up, then his air conditioning went out, and his wife either got sick or injured, and she had been off of work till just recently. So that's why the fence had not gone up. And I told him, I said, if you just clean up the property and make it look a little bit more orderly instead of like a mini junkyard, I think that's what the committee is after. And I think he had, at the time, he had 5 garden tractors that he said he was gonna move. But he also was gonna keep one to mow with and try to sell. And when he sold that one, he was gonna go and get one of the other 4 that he had left, because he still needs to mow his yard. But I don't know if he's in the business of buying garden tractors and reselling them. Larry, do you know what he's doing with those garden tractors at all?
Yes, I do.
And thanks for showing up this morning. Appreciate it.
And I just want to start off by saying I apologize for not being here last month. I fully intended to be here last month, but for whatever reason, I got the date of the meeting wrong, and when I pulled my paper out to see what time the meeting was, I realized, oh no, that meeting was yesterday. So I did immediately call Shannon and try to talk with him.
Yeah.
Yes, he does have a rotation of stuff. For a number of us, we would probably consider it junk. But he is on a disability. He gets just a fixed income per month from SSI.
Okay.
So he's not one that has lots of money, and so the metal and stuff that he works with is something that helps make him a little money, but it's not like he's running a business per se. He's got lots of friends that they'll bring something over to him and ask him to fix it because it doesn't work. And he's very good with mechanics of things, and he'll get the thing running for a little bit of nothing, and then he'll tell the people, well, I got it going for you, that, oh, we don't want it back, just keep it. Just do something with it.
Yeah.
So, and if you really watch, there really is a rotation of things. I will definitely say there could be a lot more order to it.
Yeah.
And
Well, all of us have seen the trailer full of scrap metal, and then the trailer comes back and it's empty.
yes,
And then we'll drive by later and it's full again. So we've noticed that rotation. And what I had told him when he came to visit here to find out, I said, if you could just make things look a little bit more orderly and get more of the stuff under the carport if possible. I don't know if he's had, how much of that he's done since the last meeting.
Yeah.
But
a week or so ago, they were out there and were really working and trying to clean some things up and get things organized, and the yard itself, whatever, looked pretty decent. But then he's turned around and has him mowed the yard again in the back.
yeah,
And with some of those little fox weeds, they grow pretty fast, pretty tall, and
yeah,
so it needs it again. I know the one mower that he had there is broke down. The wheels broke, so he's not able to use that. And I keep mowing a little bit more and a little bit more over that way, and I keep the front all mowed up and the side there. But talk about the fence, though. One of the primary reasons they didn't get the fence put up immediately was from finance. The second reason is getting somebody to do it. And I talked with them and I said, I understand you don't have the money per se. And they are on a contract on that property. That they're renting to own, and, so they sort of own it, they sort of don't. And so I said, I'll make you a deal. I said, I'll pay and put the fence up, and I'll just add it on to the total amount that you'll owe for the property. Oh, you do that? I said, yes, I'll do that. So that's what's going to happen. I did get it, I was in contact with a fencing company, and one of the first things I asked him, I said, how far out are you on a schedule?
Mhm.
He says, well, right now we're booking into August. And that was last month. So I've signed a contract to have a fence put up. It won't be put up until sometime in August. And also, I told them we're a stone in part of that backyard. And they're gonna need to keep any vehicles or anything else like that inside fenced area in that stone area. And no more parking on the side of the house. And, so they're in agreement with that. So the fence will be going up. It's just, it'll be another month or so yet till that happens.
Didn't this property come up a month or two ago? Help me out. Seems to me that we have talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about this
A
property.
while
Yeah,
ago.
we've talked about it before.
Well,
Yes,
Larry,
we did.
I think, Larry, you've found what the issue is, and that is that there's a scrap metal yard there.
Yeah.
It's a scrap metal yard. And we've, first of all, zoning wise, you're not supposed to have a scrap metal yard in a residential zone. But secondly, even in a properly zoned, which means they really should come for a variance to BZA if they're wanting to do that. But secondly, if you are going to have a scrap metal yard, the statute or the ordinance specifically says there has to be a fence. So I think a lot of things can be solved with that fence. If everything stayed put in there. And that, I mean, that's an ordinance that's been here for 75 years. I mean, it's not a new nuisance ordinance thing.
Right.
And
And I think, I mean, just speaking out loud, you know, Larry, I appreciate you coming. It's good to understand that this property is in a contract to own situation, so that makes it a little unique. But your proposal to them to pay for the fence and to add that onto their contract, and then that's what they're paying towards at the end, is very gracious on your part, and I think a great way to address the current problem. So in December, when they were here and sat back there, that's when they talked about the fence. And obviously at the last meeting or two, we brought up the fact that they've been non-responsive about the fence. You're here today telling us what the plan is on the fence. So my opinion is, I'm happy that the owner was here to tell us what the plan is, because that's what we put on the letters in the right-hand corner. We'd like everyone to come with a plan. Larry's come with a plan. So at this point, you were warned, you came, and now there's a plan. So I'm okay letting the fence play out. And then at that point in time, to Dave's point, everything that the concern is about junk and rubbish should be contained within the fence.
Dave, so you hide trash and scrap with a fence. is that legal?
I think if they're going to trade, swap, sell scrap metal, then they really need to come to BZA for a variance. But at the very least, from the nuisance board standpoint, at the very least, they need to have a fence. Kind of two different,
So from
the
another
BZA
standpoint,
deals with variances, the nuisance board deals with these kind of things.
so from another standpoint, it's illegal. Are you saying that?
Well, I don't think they're here to say whether they have a scrapyard or not in effect. And to your point, as far as the fence, whether it's legitimate to hide things behind the fence, there are other properties in town that there are things behind the fences that you and I have no idea what's behind the fence. So I don't think we're going to get into a situation whether a fence in place or not is a problem. I think what we talked about before on fences is we know there are things behind the fence that are a health hazard. Then we have to address it from a health perspective, not from a nuisance perspective. That's a different board. It's not our concern.
So it's another board to take a look at it.
Yeah,
That's what
I'm
you're
just gonna
saying.
throw out a scenario.
I hear what you, Ron, I hear what you're saying. We've got two different problems here.
Mhm.
And you've answered my question.
I guess my problem, Larry, is this came up a year ago. 7/25 of 25. I got a letter here, dated. Why is it taking this long? And I'm putting you on the spot. Why is it taking you so
Before
long?
Larry responds, Dwight, I want to interject something. It was addressed. They were on the docket last summer.
Mhm.
They were addressed and they did everything we asked and we took them off the list.
Yeah.
They were off the list for 3 or 4 or 5 months.
So that's our.
Now they've come back on the list and now they're addressing what we've most recently.
Yeah, if I remember right, the letters from this board had to do with the front yard, with
Right.
equipment and trailers and scrap, whatever, that was in the front yard, and they addressed that at the time.
So it's two different.
So when the neighbors consult, make comments to Dwight and myself, we will relay what you have said.
Okay, that's fine.
And they are concerned. The neighbors are concerned.
Could I ask what neighbors we're talking about?
Absolutely. Pete Gastineau, number one.
Who?
Pete Gastineau. You don't even know the gentleman, desserts,
Okay,
okay?
yeah, I know.
And please keep that out of the paper.
Your live stream.
Well,
live stream.
for the few people that are gonna watch. So that means that the trailer will be behind the fence, is that correct?
Yes.
Trailer will be behind the fence.
It doesn't have to be.
Ron,
It doesn't have to be.
it doesn't have to
Read
be,
the ordinance.
aesthetically,
I understand
It
that, but
looks
the way
like-
the ordinance is currently stated, there's nothing we can say that they have to put the trailer behind the fence.
The scrap needs to be.
that's another reason why the ordinance needs to be redone. There's a place in Berne for trailers. If he's got a trailer in the front yard, you know what's gonna happen? There's gonna be crap on the trailer, and it's gonna go another month, and then it'll go another month. We just keep kicking the ball here. Okay.
He addressed everything that we had concerns about in the front yard. Correct?
Apparently, we need more concerns in the front yard. I mean, just drive by and look, you know, it's deplorable. If we had more houses like that, and that's gonna be a main drag during Swiss days.
Well, Dwight,
Yeah. I'm all ears.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
If you had a renter that kept their property nice and neat, because they were spending all their money keeping the property nice and neat, and were spending their money on other things they liked, and they didn't seem to want to pay their rent. Or you have somebody whose their property doesn't look like the way you would keep your property. And I know they don't keep it the way I would like for them to keep it. And I know that my parents would be horrified to know how it is. But not everybody's had the same situation that you and many others in here have had. You've had plenty of money to do whatever you want. These folks have had a hard time years back where they had no credit, period. And they couldn't go get a loan from a bank to buy a property. And I was willing to finance them. They've lived there for almost 6 years, 5.5 years. They've never missed a payment. They pay the full amount in cash on the date that it's due. And from a friendly standpoint, they are nice people. So now, which one do you want?
Here's what I would do if I were you, Larry. Here's what I would do. Call them into your home, sit down at your kitchen table, offer them a cup of coffee, and have a heart-to-heart. Now, this is what you're going to have to do. Lay it on the law to them. You own the property, it's up to you. That's what we did at the property behind Hotbigger Furniture. We laid it on the law what they had to do before we rented to the number of people we rented to. We said, you have to keep the yard mowed. We said this, that, it has to be done. Plain and simple. Nothing in writing. It was heart to heart. And we had no issues. I'm just saying, there's a way that you can take care of this, but, well, whatever.
I personally think, let's see what the fence and see what it looks like after the fence is up and see if it's still an issue then. So I appreciate you coming and giving us the plans. And I would say let's put this on hold to see what happens after the fence is up.
Motion?
With that in mind, I think we should move on.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
motion.
Oh, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to allow the fence to go up and monitor the property, once the fence is up. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the next property is 866 West Van Buren Street. I think the main issue on that property was the shed that was placed in the right of way. So I have an email from Shannon, who is not here because his dad is very sick in the hospital. But he had reached out to the property owner. The property owner at Van Buren and Shug had called Shannon and is seeking someone like Yoder's to move the shed inside the fence. The company he bought the shed from uses a subcontractor to move and set the sheds, and he has had no luck getting any communication with them. So I recommended he reach out to the Yoders or the Troyer company, as they may be able to do that. He has not heard anything back from the property owner, where that process is at. So
Greg, has this come up before?
it was on last month, yeah.
That's what I think with.
This is the response. Shannon said he was gonna call the property owner and tell him to remove the shed. So what I just read says that that's what Shannon did.
Yeah, I heard what you
Okay.
said. Question I have, in regard to the scrap metal and that frame, is that okay?
That's gone.
That's
That's
gone.
gone.
That's gone.
Okay, good.
There's trash cans out there, but the frame, I think, and a few tires, but the frame is gone.
Yeah, okay, good.
So on the shed, I know we discussed it at the last nuisance review board meeting. We discussed it here, but that's not really a part of the nuisance ordinance.
That's really building and planning.
So that's
Yeah.
building and planning.
Which is why Shannon was gonna take care of it.
So for this board, Shannon is addressing that.
Right.
I guess what I would still, from a nuisance review board perspective, if you look at the pictures, the tires, even though they got rid of the trailer, they're still junk.
Yeah.
They're still tires. So my recommendation would be to send them one more letter about junk and rubbish and give them, Kelly, whatever the date is before the next meeting in August, that they have until then to have it removed. And if they haven't removed it by then we can talk about finding.
I think some of the trash cans are hiding some of the tires that were
Yeah.
up here with the trailer.
Right. They're still there.
Yeah,
And again, tires are specifically listed as items that can produce a health hazard. So that's why
And those are specifically in the ordinance.
so that's your motion, Ron.
That's my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, you have a motion and a second to send them another letter about the tires.
And we send them a picture and we can circle that this is what we're talking about, so. And we don't need to say anything in the letter about the shed because Shannon's dealing with that from a building planning perspective.
Okay, the last,
And that's an acknowledgement. Again, those tires, if they're inside the fence, we don't know if they're there.
right,
I'm not telling people to hide their tires, but because it's still a health hazard, but what the nuisance board is saying, we're seeing a violation. That's the issue.
okay, the last one on the review portion is the 355 Hoosier Street. And we have heard that they have found a new place to locate out in the country. And the racetrack has moved out to the country, and I don't know if anybody is living in this house at this point, but all of the bikes and other rubbish that the neighbors had complained about after I had sent a letter asking for consideration of the neighborhood. That stuff has all been removed. And it looks 100% better, so.
And the neighbors are smiling.
We'll continue to monitor it, but I don't know that anybody's even living there at this point, so.
I think based on our discussion at the last nuisance review board meeting, I think the mayor, the letter that was sent to the owner was very well done. And I think that's just, it's kind of something we need to think about doing ongoing in situations like this, that helped it along. I mean, helped it even more so than the letters with the signage and stuff. I think the letter spelled it out.
Essentially, it was just asking for consideration. Consider it.
So our next agenda item is new properties or new complaints. We have one new complaint form that was filed after our last nuisance meeting, and it involves 705 High Street. I believe we probably just need to send a letter for junk and rubbish.
And Junk
debris,
vehicles.
junk vehicle, yeah.
And we haven't, obviously, we haven't sent anything to them yet, since
Right.
we're talking about this for the first time. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I'd make a motion that we send, letters, or, a letter, or multiple letters on the junk and rubbish and junk vehicles to 705 High Street.
Timeline being what? To clean this up.
We give them till the next meeting day. Or to show up, as Larry did, and explain what their
Plan
issue is or plan is. And then we go from there. I mean, if they don't do anything at our next meeting, it'll be like some other properties that we've reviewed. We'll have pictures that show where they were and where they are, and then we, at that date, decide what the next
The
step.
next move is, and it's another 30 days.
Yeah,
It's called due process, Dwight.
and I think,
Gotta do
I think
that.
after our last meeting, I sent an email out kind of summarizing what we had discussed on properties, is you have a month to address the problem. And then we could potentially give them another month, and if they don't address it, we could warn them, which is what we've done at other properties. And then if they haven't done it after 2 months, then we fine them. So it's,
Maybe we need to get rid of 130 days. Maybe we need to redo our thought process when we decided, pretty soon we're 30 days and then we're for a warning and then another 30 days.
well, and I think the reasoning behind that, and Dave, you can, help me out, is that we considered this the committee to decide whether they've addressed their matter, their issue or not. So we have to wait until the next meeting to meet.
Unless you're wanting to meet every 2 weeks,
Easy could,
not the rest of us.
easy could. Well, I'm retired, so yeah.
I mean, the way we outlined it in that email that I sent, we at least have a process so that at 90 days, we know where we're at. Where over the last 2 years, we've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process I think we should try to stick to. So when we meet in August, hopefully based on their letters, they've addressed the issue. And if they haven't, then we take the next appropriate step forward. And again, as I've stated before, none of this is easy. It's not anything that I look forward to each month, attending these meetings. I know it's something that needs to occur to try and keep the city of Berne headed in the right direction. So I'm willing to, you folks are willing to, but it's not easy. I mean, there's stuff.
I would like to add that some of the grass and weed letters that we sent out over the last month or so, those properties done fantastic on cleanup. Kurt and I went around and looked at them yesterday. They look awesome compared to the way they were. So that we're making leeway on that.
Well, and I like the way that Berne does the grass and weed thing. I was driving in Fort Wayne and saw, their notices are just posted in the yard, so for everybody to look at and say, this person's in violation. We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the way that our letters go out and give them a chance to get it done,
Did you get that for the paper?
Any board comments?
No. I've said enough. I've said enough.
Second motion on that one.
Is there a motion on the floor?
What?
For 705, we need a second motion.
Okay, I need a second for 705 High Street
I'll
John,
second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any board comments?
Oh, I do have one, another thing about 517 East Main Street. I think from our last meeting, we were gonna send them a letter. Have we done that yet? Do we know?
517 East Main.
Is this the garage one across from Amstead's?
Yeah,
Yeah, we said that we made a motion to send the property owner another letter in both English and Spanish to remind them that they agreed to start building their garage in June, July of 2026. The letter needs to be a reminder that the building permit is good for only 1.5 years before it expires. I made that motion, John seconded, so I just wondered if the letter had been sent.
Yeah, it was announced certified mail June 24th in both English and Spanish.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think if we could add that to the meeting minutes down under board comments that we discussed 517 East Main Street and that the letter was sent out, it just documents.
And the garage was gonna be built, I think they set a time when the garage was gonna be built.
did we hear anything back from the letter?
I didn't, but they usually contact Shannon, so.
Okay,
Their original estimate was by the end of fall.
Right.
So we had talked at the last meeting, we thought October-ish was end of fall. So we're kind of setting ourselves up, hopefully, that if they don't adhere to that, we've got something to go back on that's documented.
And when did this first come up, this property? Last year.
Some time ago.
It was some time ago, and here we are.
They ran into, didn't they have some issues and went to Mexico and had family,
Is that right?
Couldn't get back.
if I'm thinking, yeah.
There's no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
You got it,
Is there a second?
got it.
Doesn't work that way, John.
Motion by John, seconded by Ron, all in favor, signify by
I
saying
should know
aye.
that by now, right, Dave? Can we,